For Group A, we have Foot Esports, Team Heretics, Giant X, and Carmine Corp. Honestly, this group is full of dark horses to surprise people throughout the year. We're starting things off with Foot Esports versus Team Heretic on the 20th. CNET and UTJ joined Foot, which is pretty cool. It does suck that QE had to be let go since he was so good for them last year. Someone should think about picking him up, honestly. And for Team Heretics, funny enough, they might be the second best Turkish team since they picked up 2 young cracked players from there. I say funny enough because Team Heretics isn't really based in Turkey, but are doing a better job at scouting young talent than BBL, who is based in Turkey. They also added Benji Fishy towards the end of last year, who used to play Fortnite. It would be kind of hilarious if he starts busting out the judge like YZ, so we can actually see Fortnite gameplay in Valorant. I doubt it, but nonetheless, I have Foot moving on. They're just better and could challenge for the top 3 in EMEA this year. Next, we have Carmine Corp versus Giant X, where Giant came close to pulling off upsets in champs last year against EDG. Vitinho is the player to watch for, as well as Redgar, who's a nice pickup. KC had a completely revamped roster, so we'll probably not see any more of Sideshow's hilarious watch parties. They have Nerit from Tier 2, as well as Tamazi, a player at one point that Loud was interested in. Rounding out the new talent is Magnum and Martine. They also kept Shin. They did one show match where everyone was basically playing a different role than what they had beforehand. Maybe they just didn't take it as seriously, or it's a product of what happens when you pick up 3 players who played duelists the previous year. And because of that, I have Giant X moving on. Best believe I'm not betting against CNET, so Foot is also moving on too. I think it will take time for KC to gel well with the revamped roster. They have a lot of good young talent, so I think in the future they'll do better and even beat some of the teams in this group too. But I still have Team Heretics moving on. What can I say? I'm a sucker for Benji Fishy, who kind of showed last year that he's more than just a clout signing and actually has somewhat skill to compete against other pros in this league. Now we have Giants versus Team Heretics. I want to say Giant X will move on, but screw it, this is a tournament and tournaments are designed for upsets, and a good one should have at least 1 or 2, and I believe Team Heretics will be the first to do so. And now for Group B, where we'll first see Navi versus BBL, aka Brazilian Butt Lift Esports. I'm just kidding. I think their name stands for like Big Boss something. Nonetheless, Navi brought in artists, so it's FPX2 the Electric Boogaloo all over again. It's interesting that people think artists will make this team better, even though I think CNET has better mechanics than him. I guess we'll see if having the right fit is better than having the overall superior player. Maybe the power of friendship is real. For me, and maybe this is recency bias, but Navi already won EMEA because of the hype video that they put out. So I have them over BBL easily, which is crazy since there's so much Turkish talent out there going to other teams. And for the next matchup, it's Koi versus Team Liquid. Funny thing is, basically just a week before kickoffs, Koi announced their roster. I don't know if they had known this the whole time and just kept it a secret from everyone, or if they really just signed those guys last second. Nonetheless, Team Liquid kept Nats and Yampy, while picking up Apex last year's Tier 2 team. Kiko is definitely a player to watch on this team as well. I expect Nax to pop off, so if you haven't guessed it, Team Liquid over Koi. And despite all their signing and whatnot, it's not enough to beat Navi and their protagonist powers. And for this matchup, I guess I'll give it to BBL, mainly because Koi is looking like such a mess at this moment. But overall, this game could go either way. Regardless, it doesn't really matter because Team Liquid should beat both of these teams. Honestly, if Team Liquid doesn't move on, then it'll be a huge upset. Same for Navi. For Group C, we have Fnatic, Gentlemates, and Team Vitality. I'll just do this now because it's Fnatic. The only change that happened was Mini moving down to assistant coach for quality of life reasons, and Elmer Putty is now their head coach, which means that there are more Australians in EMEA and China than there are in the Pacific region. Just a funny fact that I noticed when looking at all these teams from different regions. There will be a rematch between Team Vitality and Gentlemates, but I think Team Vitality will win the first matchup. However, let's go with an upset in their rematch. I have Gentlemates bouncing back, just like how they did in Ascension, where they lost 0-2 to both Ascend and Apex, but came back to beat them later on in the tournament. And I think they will do the same thing here. And now for power rankings. I think most people will agree with Fnatic being at the first place spot. They didn't make any changes, and you know what? You don't need to when you're the best. And it's only fair. If someone wants the first place spot, they have to take it. Same for number 2. I still have Na'Vi here, and if you think someone else deserves it, they just have to show it to us first. From 3 to 6 or even 7, it's really a toss-up, in my opinion. The next teams I mentioned from here till then could easily beat each other, but I'm feeling quite safe with Foot and CNED at the number 3 spot. And I guess we'll put Team Liquid at the number 4 spot for the heck of it. 5 is kind of tricky. I think Team Vitality is going to be very dangerous this year, so I'm cool with them being at 5. I could see them moving up or down. I know I had Gentlemates beating them in the rematch, but it's called an upset for a reason. Giant X feels good at the 6th spot for now. Gentlemates because they are pretty new, and in my opinion, out of all the Ascensions team, they might be the weakest, only beating out Dragger Ranger Gaming. But I could see them moving up throughout the season though. And for 8, we'll put Team Heretics. Again, I called it an upset against Giant X for a reason. And for number 9, we'll put KC. Same with having chances to move up throughout the year. I can really see that happening. I'm really curious to see how they will handle all the duelists that they brought on to this team. And for the number 10 spot, I guess we'll put BBL here, since they're less of a mess than Koi. Let me know how you guys feel about my picks and initial power rankings. Like, comment down below, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Until next time, y'all stay safe, and I'll see you guys later.